Okay, so now we are officially live on Facebook. We've been doing a great preview. We got y'all great content, but in the meantime, we're gonna intro this video and we back. And we back and we back and we back and we back and we back. Yeah. And we back and we back. Thinking Out Loud Podcast. It's your boy Jay Lip, TOLPcast.com. It's your boy Jay Lip yet again. Thinking Out Loud. You already know what it is. You already know who I am. And I got the Mrs. with me, Mrs. Lip in the building. Mrs. Lip, how are you feeling? I'm guessing blessed and black and highly favored. Maybe I had a little cheat code there.
You might have, but it's all true. It's all true. Blessed, highly favored, still black, still happy about it.
Still black. Still black. No bleaching cream yet.
Nope, nope, not that
Okay.
time.
You look beautiful. You look wonderful. I'm glad that you could join us tonight.
Thank you.
We're going to get to the shits, and I want to make sure that we give all credence and all honor to those who have supported us to this point. We are on episode, I want to say 93.
Wow.
Episode 93. We almost at 100. And I told y'all at 100, we doing something special. Until we
What are we
get
doing?
there, it's a surprise, baby.
Oh, come on. You can tell me. I won't tell
Okay.
anybody.
All right, I'll tell you. Episode 100, we doing this. Yeah, you got it? You got it?
No, but
Oh,
that's cool.
all right, cool. All right, let's jump straight to the bullshit. We got to get the bullshit out the way because the
Well, first
bullshit.
off, a couple quick things, really, really quick. Firstly, let's make sure everybody's fully aware that tomorrow is your birthday.
Oh shit, it's my birthday tomorrow, or rather November 14th, depending on when you hear this. November 14th is the born day of your boy Jay Lip. So let's give a little
Hey.
yeah. Made it to 32, my niggas. Let's get it.
You getting
Let's
old,
get it.
bro. You getting
I'm getting
old.
old, man. You know, I'm still rocking chains, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
still got the icy wrists, you know what I'm saying? I still got the ring on the finger. I'm still looking nice and looking lovely. I got the hair out, you know, I'm doing me. You know what I'm saying? But, that's what I do. Now, on to what the world does. The world does bullshit. So, let's jump into the bullshit. Now, with that being said, first and foremost, rest in peace to the family and friends of those who have loved Stan Lee, one of the
Yeah.
co-creators, the co-founders of Marvel Comics. Now, we're not saying this as far as Marvel Comics the movies, Marvel Comics the cartoons. We're saying Marvel Comics the fucking comics. Like my nigga, the original comics. When cats was drawing shit out and writing words in the bubbles and they was showing each other love. He
Back when we
created
used to
a
go to bookstores and like buy paper media.
exactly. He's the one that did that shit. So Stan Lee, much respect, salute to you, sir. Honestly, you have been an influential person when it comes to this new age where technology has finally caught up and allowed us to see visually what I feel like your graphic novels is what I like to call comic books. The graphic novels have finally reached their pinnacle when it comes to these films. These films have been amazing. From Iron Man 1 all the way to the Avengers Infinity Wars, a 10-year streak of films that we got to get that man credit for. So shout
I'm
out to
just
him.
curious to see how many more movies we're gonna see cameos in because we know they record not record, they like film these so far in advance. I just wonder how many more cameos we get.
I hope we get.
For
I hope we get to. So we got Captain Marvel coming up. So
right,
first quarter of next year we
he's
got
gotta
Captain
be in it.
Marvel, and
That's gotta be done.
she's incredible. And then you got the Avengers Annihilation, which was supposed to be the Avengers Infinity Wars Part Two, but they changed the name to Annihilation, and that
Wow,
scares me a little bit because
a little bit.
Annihilation is a little deep.
The
You know what I'm saying?
finite.
You tell a nigga I'm gonna annihilate you. That's a little aggressive. You know, you get a little aggressive, your chest getting tough. So, with that being said, Stan Lee, we appreciate everything that you've done, bro. Man, it's been a hell of a ride. We thank you. But my guy was
95 years old.
95.
That man
Yeah.
lived a full life.
Yeah, like 95. I can't be mad at that. Like
Right.
95. Nigga,
Yeah.
95. That's a long ass time. Like,
That's a
you
long time.
technically, by current definition, he's lived through so many different generations of life that I wouldn't be surprised if there was some tape out there, some video, some recording that was Stanley talking about, I ain't making no goddamn Black Panther. Ain't no Black Panthers around this bitch. And then all of a sudden, we get the Black Panther. So, with
Why we
that be
gotta assume he racist though?
because he 95. He
So what?
95. He old as
I
fuck.
just assume every old white person had a racist phase.
Look,
Is that
that
what we're
nigga
saying?
old as fuck. He old as fuck. 95. You had to have
Wow.
gone through, you went through the Jim Crow era. You went through the pre-civil rights, the post-civil rights. You went through the peace and love era of the 70s. You went through the AIDS era of the 80s. You went through the free love era of the 90s, hip hop, the 2000s when black people started taking over, and now you in the 2010s, as we call them. Like, he been around. So,
Yeah.
rest in peace to my man, and I hope I don't ever hear of some bullshit that you did. But if I do, it's fuck you. I'm
No, it's
sorry.
not. No, you'll never feel that way about Stanley. You love you some Stanley and you know it.
I don't love me no man. Don't ever say that shit again. I don't love me no man. Don't put that on me. You love you some Stanley. Don't say that shit. No. No, we
It's
striking
true.
that. Let me
It's
edit
true
that.
though.
No. Regardless, speaking of what we love and don't love, California is on fucking fire right now. Now, the news will tell you
Exactly.
that there's been fire upon wildfire upon houses on fire, and then you always got that one correspondent who's standing right in the middle of the flames
Um,
talking about some. I'm trying to get the fuck about this internship, so there's a fire happening right around me. I'm dying,
it's
but
right under my feet right now.
exactly. My shoes are melted. My boots are glued to the ground. It's hot. But I represent ABC News. And this is what I do. I'm trying to get the fuck out of here. I'm trying to be like Michael Strahan and be sitting up at the cut talking about the other shit, but I can't because California is on fire. So, with that being said, rest in peace to all the people who did lose their homes. And no bullshit, there are a lot of people who lost their homes. That's one
And lost
thing.
their
Cool.
lives.
But thank you. The lives are what I'm concerned about. The lives of the people that you love, the lives of the people that you care for. We heard today that a lot of the firefighters actually lost their own homes. So they're
Hmm.
out fighting these fires and they're losing their homes, and it's like, damn, like I told you earlier this morning, I said, why the fuck are people still buying houses in these communities where wildfires are known to exist? Why? Why?
I mean, there's only so many places to live. It's that whole urban
Oh,
sprawl
fuck
situation.
that. No, it ain't no so many places to live.
No, I'm
There's
saying
so many
the way
projects
that
in the hood.
America builds homes and builds housing, there are only so many places to live. We don't build up anymore. We build out. And especially when it comes to affluent neighborhoods, instead of trying to revitalize a neighborhood, they'd rather just go find some undeveloped land and throw McMansions on it. And then you have these
McMansions.
uninhabitable
Say it again.
neighborhoods,
McMansions. What's a McMansion?
these giant, like, it's like paint by numbers. These houses, they come in giant IKEA boxes and they throw up these houses out in the middle of nowhere, and then people wonder why a few years down the road there's an earthquake or there's a fire or there's a tornado or something. It's because people weren't living there for a reason, because these places are not
Exactly.
habitable long term.
Exactly. So, rest in peace to the folks that have passed trying to defend the homes, the properties, and the people who are in those communities. But at the end of the day, I have to say that you got to make a decision. Is it worth really being in this environment? And I know we disagree. I know we have that grievance, but I'm not shaming those folks for being out there. All I'm saying is this: if you want
Right.
to live out in Calabasas, up in the hills, you got your nice little mansion, you live in life little good, you got your nice little cars, all that shit is gone, nigga. It's melted. It's melted. It's molten lava at this point. So was it worth it? Yes or no? Come back home. Come back to the D. That's where we get it in. You ain't never heard
They'll
about
never
no.
come back. You know, as soon as these fires are over, these people are going to find ways to rebuild. They're going to get all their insurance money and they're going to build their houses up bigger and better than they were before. And they're going to be in those
Nope.
same
Nope,
neighborhoods.
nope, nope. Come back to the D. Come back to the Shy. Come
Not
back to Columbus. Come to the Midwest, baby. You know what? I feel like Suge Knight right now. You don't want to get your house burnt down. You don't want to get fucked up in the studio. Come to the Midwest. Let's get it.
really, really.
And then our last topic for the bullshit. Oh, and gotta shout out my sis Tia Tripp said, "Yeah, you getting old out here, Tia. You a goddamn lie. I'm not getting old. I'm 32. I'm young. I got the muscles. I got the hustle, and that's all I
Really.
need." And then of course my sister Misha coming in talking about no way, yeah, Kardashian life. Man, Misha, if you don't get out of these comments, I'm tired of you.
Kardashian life.
Now, getting back to the bullshit, there was a black man who was killed doing his job, right? So
Uh,
the black man did his job. He was a bodyguard at a club. He subdued an individual who was acting out of his right mind. He subdued the individual. The cops came in. People saying, "Yeah, he's a security guard." All the cops heard was, "He got a gun. Shoot." And it's like, God damn, like, how many times do we have to get to a place where it was his job? Like, he said, "I want to be a police officer one day." Like,
right.
his people are telling us that. He wanted to be an officer, he wanted to be a part of the process, which is what we often say as black people, be a part of the process. And this nigga got killed. Why? Why?
This is always my issue when it comes to cops. Like, if you approach a situation scared, you shouldn't be a cop. The fact that you can't deduce whether or not this person is a threat before you just shoot him, like, the way that I heard the story, and of course we don't know all the details, we weren't there, but the way that I heard the story
I
was this
hate that. I
man.
hate that phrase. I hate that phrase right there. And I'm gonna tell you that because I love you, but I hate that phrase. We don't know the whole story. We'll never know the whole story. So
No,
for
and I know
those,
that. I get that. I'm acknowledging that I can only go off of the soundbite that I heard on the news. I only heard what everybody else heard. But from what I understand, this man was doing his job. He was subduing a suspect and kind of holding him in custody, waiting for the cops to get there. And for whatever reason, the cops finally show up on the scene. And instead of seeing somebody there helping them do their job, they saw a black man who was probably of a certain size, looked intimidating, whatever the hell that means, and decided to take that man's life.
I'm
And
so
that
tired. I'm so tired of people feeling intimidated by how somebody looks. To your point, they said that the security guard had his knee in his back, had the gun drawn to his head, and said, "You're gonna stay here. We're gonna wait for the authorities." The authorities came and blew his ass away. That to me is bullshit. That to me is why I feel personally that it's like, what else can we do? You want us to be cops in our communities? Well, fuck it. We get shot and killed in our communities. You want us to aspire to be something better than ourselves when it comes to governing the same rules and regulations that we apply to everyone. But this man was protecting a bar. You can even take it back to the shooting that happened at the college club. It was the club that did the college night, right?
yeah,
Country
yeah.
music, and you got somebody coming in there with smoke grenades and just blasting. You don't just buy smoke grenades. Like, my nigga, like, I'm sorry, but unless you made them shits yourself,
You'd
unless
be
you,
surprised some of the stuff you can find in gun stores these days, man. The stuff that
and it
people are
shouldn't
getting away with
be.
selling to each other.
And it shouldn't be. Like, to me, you should have to mix Febreze with vinegar and some acetone and then make your own smoke grenade. Like, you can't just go buy a smoke grenade, throw them shits in there and just start spraying. Like, I'm glad that the man felt the effect of what he dealt to people, meaning I'm glad that he was dealt justice from the natural law. But I'm upset with the fact that this is yet another situation where there's no explanation. There's
Right.
no like I got bullied as a kid. I got a lazy eye,
Well, they're
motherfucker.
suggesting. I mean,
Like
he was the veteran, and they're suggesting that he had, untreated PTSD. That's the official story right
how
now.
many times are we going to tell people that because you have untreated mental illnesses that you get to basically have carte blanche when it comes to the things that you do that affect the lives of so many other people? And I
I
guess
don't think anybody's suggesting it's okay. I mean, we're all looking for an explanation for why this happened. This man, died on the scene. We can't interrogate him. The only thing that we know is that, the authorities were involved in a call to his house some months or years earlier because he was basically unstable. But other than that, there's no real story on this guy and why he chose to do this. And it's uncomfortable to just be like, well, this was just a senseless act of violence. We're always looking for an explanation, and that's the only one we have, is insufficient as it is.
well, I appreciate your honesty with that, and I agree with it too. I want to talk about the recount situation, recounting these votes. When it comes to a fact where a black person or a black candidate, rather, is going against a candidate who is not of color, there seems to be a common trend, in my opinion, where there's a recount required to prove that this person who is not of color has truly demonstrated that they've won the vote, whether that be the popular, electoral, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little bit disheartening because it's kind of like, really, like it was that
My whole
close.
thing is like, so they do the recounts when they think something's wrong, but it's like we just assume that every other time they got it right. Like, I don't
Exact,
know.
say it, speak on it.
It's just, it does not instill a lot of confidence in the people who are basically paid to make sure our elected officials are truly our elected officials. I think there's a lot wrong with the voting system right now, and it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. But I mean, I do still think it's important for us to, go out and vote, even though sometimes
Absolutely.
behind the scenes are not,
Yeah.
they're not on it.
Yeah, I'll never say don't vote because your votes don't count. But what I will say is when you vote and then you hear about the fact that there are ballots on the side of the freeway, or there gets to a point where the vote is so close that we have to recount them, motherfucker, why did the not original count matter? Like,
Right.
what did
Like,
you
what was
do
the
wrong in
original
the
count? The
original
count
count?
is the count. Like, the count shouldn't change. I don't understand the logic behind the recount. Like, if you counted
Yep,
it the
me
first time
neither.
and it was close, then it's just close. But there's still going to be a winner. You don't have to be a winner by a margin.
And that's the part that fucks with me because it's like they say, okay, when we do a recount, we're going to now include the provisional counts. We're going to now include the provisional ballots, and those are the ballots of the people who didn't necessarily have the identification at the time,
Yeah.
or they changed their address or whatever. But those votes are discounted prior to. So there
Well,
is some
under the
truth.
assumption that it's not close enough. So the provisional ballots only come into play when it is that close, which is understandable. My whole thing is like, why don't you just throw them all in at once? Like, why aren't we just counting
Yes,
all
every
ballots
vote,
at
every
once?
vote, every vote.
Because the way that you end up on a provisional ballot, it's not that, for whatever reason you're disqualified from voting. You just, maybe you showed up at the polls without your ID, but your vote should still count regardless of whether or not you voted in, like you voted early or you voted at the polling station. You got your vote in, it should all count at once, and whatever the number is should be the number. Like, it just seems really unnecessarily convoluted, and it just doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in me as a voter.
Well, I'm glad that you and I still decided to vote. I'm proud of the
Yes.
fact that you did. I'm proud of the fact that I did. We will continue to participate.
Yep.
And despite the feedback that I've gotten on previous episodes, this is just a personal decision that we've both made that we're going to participate in the electoral process. So
Yeah.
that's just what it is. And if you have an opinion about it, cool. But if you don't, cool. And I at the end of the day, it's how we decide to live our lives. I
Right. It's
want
a
to.
choice. It's a choice, and it's something that's always available to people to take advantage of or not to. But just know that if you say you don't vote, I am probably judging you.
Now, I wanted to get into real quick Michelle's book. Michelle Obama just released a book. I
I can't wait.
Okay, so we're gonna get to that. I want to do a deeper dive onto that once we both read it together, which I feel like we will, because we have that unity and all that blah blah blah, black love and all that shit. But however, we need to get to the shits, which is the topic of this podcast. So, with the topic of this podcast being Born Day and making that indie work. Born Day. Once again, clap for your boy. 32, November 14th. Holla at your boy.
Yay.
And with that being said, I'm thankful. I just can't really say enough to give gratitude to everybody who's been a part of my life to get me to this point. But most importantly, who I can give that gratitude to is Mrs.LIP, my wife Tony. She has been literally my angel. I love you. I love you so much.
Aw. Thanks, back. I love you too.
All right, now with the shits. The shits are making that indie work. So, tomorrow's my birthday. Well, if you listen in on a Tuesday, Wednesday is my birthday. Wednesday is also the day that Tony is leaving. She's flying out to a wedding and she's going to be out of town for a couple of days. She's going to be out of town for damn near a business week. So she's going to
No, come
a
on.
business week meaning 5 days, right? Let's be fair. Let's talk about it. So, with that being said, she's going to be gone. She's going to be doing her thing and
Most of
having
it's
fun.
traveling, by the way. If we could be
Okay,
clear.
and that's fine, and we cool with that. What I want to say is, I personally, which has not been disclosed, I think on this podcast, maybe it has, maybe it hasn't, I forgot, but I personally have certain grievances when it comes to the fact that my wife leaves and I'm coming home to a house where I'm by myself with two cats and nothing to eat. That's just basically what I come home to
The
when
fact that you come home to nothing to eat is nobody's fault
I know,
but
I
yours.
know, I know, but for tomorrow,
Nothing to
for
eat.
tomorrow, for my birthday, it's the first birthday I've ever felt or ever spent alone. And I want to share with the people something that I haven't, and I hope I haven't shared. And if I have, I apologize. But I'm a person who goes through things just like everybody else. You know, Charlemagne the God, Breakfast Club, he's got a book called Shook Ones, um, Anxiety Playing Tricks on Me, or My Mind Playing Tricks on Me, or some shit like that. And what it equates to is we can all be dealing with some type of mental issue, whether that be PTSD, whether that be anxiety, whether that be some type of circumstantial issue that occurred in your life that made you feel uncomfortable, and thus you are now affected and continue to struggle with that. For me, there is a part of me that feels a way about my wife being gone on my birthday because my mother, God bless, God bless the living, Jenna, my mother, I love you. She was raised, or she raised me and my sister Misha in a way where birthdays were extremely important. This being the first birthday that we couldn't spend together affected me in a very, I say, a very emotional way. It made me feel like it wasn't even really a valuable birthday. It was like it's just another day. It's a Wednesday. It's in the middle of the week. That shit sucks already, but it's still your birthday. So what my wife has tried to do is instill in me the confidence and the understanding that it's still a celebration of life. It's still a celebration of the fact that God has breathed life into you and into us to continue our relationship and to continue our bond and our union and our building together. Now, the point of all of this is to say that, yeah, you know what, to me it hurts, to me it sucks, to me, it's not the way that I envisioned it, but I want to open the floor to my wife because she is going to embark on an experience of joy. And I feel like it's important to share with people the fact that do not put on people who have joy in their life your own discrepancies when it comes to your mental health and your whatever your mental issue is. Don't pull that person down because they don't deserve that. They don't have that in their life. Don't put that in their life. Be the light of their life. Be the light that is within you based on God, which I do believe in. Jesus, Lord Christ. I am a Christian. I do believe in all that. You know, God forgive me for all the cussing and the bullshit. But I will say, I want to give my wife an opportunity to speak on the fact that we have gone back and forth on this shit more than once. And it has a lot to do with the fact that not only is she leaving to go to a wedding in this instance, but in the past, it's been going to a craft show or going to a convention or going to some type of event that's related to her business. That just means that her shit is popping. That means that she's doing her thing.
Yeah.
Those are signs of success. So for me to denigrate her or to denigrate those situations would be a sin on my account because we both win. Like when she wins, I win. We a team. So I want my wife, Mrs. Lip, to expound upon that and her feeling on that. Go ahead,
Yeah.
babe.
I think with any relationship everybody's got stuff. I was recently listening to a podcast that was it's a collection of first marriage counseling sessions for people based out of New York, and just listening to all the different ways that challenges can manifest in relationships just got me to thinking, like, nobody's problems are bigger than anybody else's. Everybody has their stuff, and on the outside, you can look like this, perfect functioning couple, but on the inside, everybody's got those things that like set you off, or the things that, make it so you and your partner are not on the same wavelength. And I am a true proponent of everybody feeling all of their feelings and recognizing when things push you off your square or something doesn't rub you the right way, and being able to connect with your partner. Um, but I do think that there's a difference between acknowledging those feelings and how you choose to respond to them, or how they manifest in your relationship, or how you let those feelings impact whatever type of relationship you're trying to build. So when it comes to like me going out of town, or me experiencing something for my business, or even something leisurely, I'm always it's always important to me to make sure I have that conversation with you, my partner, to know that, yes, this is coming up. This is, how long I'm going to be gone. This is what I'm going to be doing. And here are the ways that we're going to make sure, while we're not physically connected, that we can stay mentally and emotionally connected. Because I think those are the things that define a relationship and that challenge a relationship the most, when you have that kind of distance. And I think, too, it kind of harkens back to, our relationship before we got married. We were together long distance for years. And I think we were kind of making up for a lot of lost time by spending so much time together. And it's getting to the point in my business and in our lives that we're spending a little bit more time apart. And it's just something that we're not really used to. The timing could not be worse. Like, who plans a wedding the weekend before Thanksgiving? Like, who does this? But it's those kinds of things that you have to be flexible, and you have to be communicative in a relationship to make sure, it doesn't cause any permanent damage, or makes anybody feel like they're not being appreciated, or thought of in these situations.
I appreciate that. I also appreciate my boy C Fry, early birthday. He said, "Happy early birthday, bro. I appreciate you, bro. Love you, bro." Mrs. Lip, I appreciate what you said. I do receive that, and I think that it's important also to keep in mind that sometimes we have to be cognizant of the fact that some of our own mental, I guess, ideologies or philosophies or whatever you want to call it is from within. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, there's nothing that I feel like you've done personally to make me feel as a man or as your husband or as your best friend, as your lover, as your everything. There's nothing that you've done to make me feel less than what I am. And I
Right.
think that there's a part of me that going through like therapy, church, other instances, when it comes to mental health, I really struggle to speak on that publicly, but I will say this to the world right here and right now. That is something that I deal with. That is something that I go through. And I have been given the opportunity to work on um, journaling, which then translates into lyricism or lyrics, and then translates into music to express and to explain and to divulge all of these things that are within inside of me. However, I still feel like it's important that I give you that positive energy to let you know, look, go, do you. I'm not there, but I'm here in the heart. Like I'm patting the chest like it you physically being here or you physically being somewhere else doesn't make you my wife or not my wife, my
Right.
friend or not my friend, my lover or not my lover, my best friend or not my best friend. It doesn't make a difference. And that's one of the things that I can say is the greatest lessons that I've learned from being married is the fact that our bond is so deep that it's it's really the goal to me, the epitome of a true great marriage is when you can say, you know what, I want you to be great with or without me,
Yeah.
but I want you to be with me.
Yeah.
I do want that. But if
And
you
I
are
think
with
too,
me,
when it comes down to it, if if anyone in a relationship feels like they're any less in a relationship because their partner is not physically present, then you have many other problems that you need to deal with.
absolutely, absolutely. So I think that we can do a deeper dive on that part when it comes to the relationship aspect, as far as how we feel about each other and the things of that nature. But for right now, I think we share with the world enough of our life. So I'm going to say, Mrs. Lip, do you have anything that you want to close out with?
Um, no Beyonce news, but I hope it doesn't snow this weekend.
All right, that's that bullshit. And then you got your boy Lip, and I want to close it out with saying just again, love your partner the way that you love yourself. And if you love your partner more than you love yourself more. Because at the end of the day, you can only be as good for that person as you can be for yourself. That's
Amen.
something that I've learned the hard way, but I'm working on it. And trust and believe it is a continuous battle and it's a continuous struggle and it's a continuous challenge, but it is real and you will reap the benefits so greatly when you can be your best self so you can be the best self that you can be for your partner. That's something I want to leave y'all with. That's something I believe. One love, Thinking Out Loud podcast, TOLpodcast.com. Mrs. Lip, you have a good evening, babe.
You too. I'll see you later.
All right now. And we
We out.
out.
Are we out? We're out.